Revelation Films presents The Godfathers of British Crime. The Crays, Freddie Foreman, Eddie Richardson, his brother Charlie, Frank Fraser, Walter Norval, Arthur Thompson, Manchester's Donnelly brothers, and Newcastle's Paddy Conroy. These are the men who have shaped Britain's criminal landscape over the past 50 years. London's gangland past has a rich history, particularly in the 1960s, when being a gangster brought glamour, excess and fame.
In the 60s it was great because when it was good, it was very, very good.
Well, I'd come out of prison, I was introduced to them and liked them immediately. And that was it, then I teamed up with them.
You had the West End, that's the jewel in the crown in London. The West End is a money-making machine, and they had their finger in every pie. If the machine went into a club, they was basically minding the club without putting anyone on the door. That's what made my dad and Eddie so good.
Ronald, what do you think about clubland in London?
Well, I think most clubs are very respectable, you know, and I don't think there's any trouble at all in them.
Both of them, I mean, both had brains.
I never trusted Reggie. I thought he sat on the fence, whereas Ronnie was more, if he gave his word, he would stick to his word. He was the nuttiest one of the two. Georgie Cornell was from East London and he'd gone over to South London to join up with the Richardson firm. I told Ronnie Gray afterwards, I said, you should never have done that. I've gone in that pub, it's like their front room, and it should never go in a person's house. Should have waited for Georgie Cornell to come out if they wanted to shoot him.
What are you going to do now that it's all over?
I like to have a bit of family life now, you know. I intend to get married in the near future. Well, I'd like to go abroad for a short while and then I'd like to be left alone.
400 miles north of London, Glasgow had its own godfathers. Walter Norval spent most of his life running gangs, and with a lethal combination of brutality and brains, was involved in protection rackets, clubs, bookies and robberies. Arthur Thompson was one of the most feared criminals in Scotland and was said to literally crucify those who did not pay their debts. Involved in protection rackets and eventually drugs, Thompson's criminal activities extended as far as London. Manchester's crime scene is synonymous with two names. For almost 50 years, Jimmy Donnelly and his brother Arthur controlled the city streets through their infamous Quality Street Gang, or QSG.
We was massive, all over the city. You know, nightclub owners, pub owners, restaurant owners, they'd look up to us and they went out of the way if we walked in. It was like royalty. We knew that if some fucking idiots walked in and caused problems or anything like that, they only had to pick the phone up. They'd know whereabouts we was, what club we was in, and we'd whip round there and we'd soon sort it out. I think I've always been a violent person. I was never a big fella. So to level it out, the hammer or the axe, people knew if they did anything that would upset us, they would get hurt if they crossed us in any way. And yes, I've been violent all my life, always have been.
The police believed they had links with the IRA and connected the brothers to the huge bomb that ripped through Manchester's city centre in 1996.
I mean, we are part of the history of Manchester. You know, and I'm beginning to realise this, you know, it's like, you know, that's why I'm doing what I'm doing here now. You know, and try to put the record straight a little bit if you can. We are, and they are, all them lads should remain nameless and serve this town well.
The power struggle to control the northeast was fought for decades between two families, the Conroys and the Sayers. Paddy Conroy's fearsome reputation in Newcastle has seen many long-running battles with his rivals, most famously with John Sayers.
I dug into the fucking corner, I went straight for him. Come here, you. And he just fucking shit himself and got into that corner, he fucking run. Every day there was shootings in the area, so every time you went out in your car, you were expecting to get shot at, you know, because it was that rife at the time. And I've got this reputation and that, but I still have a normal life. And in my normal life, I didn't do anything bad to anybody.
With the relentless chase for power and glory, these godfathers have also suffered personal loss and years spent in prison. which asks the question, was it all worth it?
It's not a thing I recommend to anybody. You know, there's all them birthdays, Christmases and New Year's, and when you're laying in the nick, that's not a nice time to be in the shovel.
Well, I think my dad had done over 40 years in jail. I've done about 25 years. They know how to put us away, that's for sure. But if you're in this game, you've got to expect the consequences of it.
It's just a case that it had to be at the time. Nobody gets over it, do it all again.